Silver made a very impulsive price movement on Monday. Let's zoom in on that chart and take a closer look. This price bar, notice how price has closed almost at the very top of the bar. That's an indication of elevated energy, where the buyers are basically in control and they keep pushing the price of silver higher throughout the session, and it closes there. That's a very bullish sign. That run of price bars there, that's a bullish run of price bars there. And then notice what we got yesterday and are continuing with today. Price is running into resistance, or appears to be running into resistance, at the upper median line of this shift pitchfork. So very bullish action in silver, albeit right now it's run into some resistance, and we can't fault silver for taking a little pause after that big move on Monday. So MACD has moved fully up into bull mode, where both of the indicator lines are above the zero level, which that's right there. And so that is bull mode, suggestive that the primary trend is now up. We've got a couple of more charts to look at with silver, and we'll see again what the trend is doing. So that's bullish action in MACD on a buy signal, obviously. Stochastics energy is elevated. So silver is looking good. We haven't gotten the pullback that I thought we might, or it hasn't happened yet. But based on current action, I'm not confident that we're going to get a pullback. Very, very bullish action, in my opinion, in silver. The time frame here, the January to April, I'm just showing that we have had the time has elapsed for a reasonable correction. So not unreasonable to think that silver could be in a new rally phase. One more thing before we move on here. Notice that MACD sometimes acts as a limiter on the price action. Look how much room we have to run in MACD before we get to this prior overbought level. So that's another potential bullish factor in silver. So anyway, very, very nice action in silver. And let's talk about gold. So, and I'll zoom in on this chart as well, out of fairness. Notice that gold has yet to push up through its 50-day moving average. So, that's a little bit of cause for concern relative to what silver's doing. If we look at from the perspective of a sideways consolidation, or the language that Dr. Timothy Morge used, an energy coil. So one way to look at this price action in gold is that energy is gathering energy for its next move. And that another point that Dr. Morge made is that when price breaks out of this energy coil, the sideways consolidation, the move is likely to be impulsive. And of course, we can't predict exactly which direction price is likely to go. But if you look at it statistically, it's likely that price will continue in the direction of the trend. The trend that was in place when it started the sideways consolidation, which of course in this case would be upwards. Bottom line, gold could be consolidating energy for an impulsive move up through the 50-day moving average, and a potential target is back at 5,000. That would be the obvious target for gold right now, would be to deal with that round number resistance around 5,000. Okay, back to silver. Silver had been in a technical downtrend, and we see that with a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. That's the definition of that's the technical definition of a downtrend. That series of lower highs, lower lows, lower, etc. That's a technical downtrend. But look at the most recent action. we didn't get another lower low. We got a higher low, at least so far. And now we've got price. Again, this was Monday's action, that big impulsive move up through the prior lower high. And so it's reasonable to say at this point that at a minimum we have a tentative uptrend, and we could draw a simple trend line of what we think this new uptrend might look like. That line actually doesn't look too bad. Let's see if we throw it up here. Something like that as a channel, potential channel. I'm a little bit off on it. What we'd like to see is price break through that upper channel. But are we still in a downtrend? I'd have to say no. I mean, clearly, we've got multiple indicators that say silver is no longer in a downtrend. This higher low, price has broken through the prior lower high. These two candlesticks on Tuesday, that was Tuesday, and now this is today's candle working on it. This is very bullish. All doji candlesticks are indicative of elevated energy. And so we get this big impulsive price move on Monday, $5.84. Jiminy Cricket. That's a big move in silver. And then followed up Tuesday with a high energy doji, clearly pushing up into what appears to be a resistance level. And now the same action today, Wednesday, we've got price pushing up into what appears to be a resistance level. Let's see. MACD again, all the way into bull mode. Just nice action in MACD. This is another chart we had looked at. It's the three fans technique. We didn't really get a third fan unless we except you can see that was on May 7. We got that price peak and then a big pullback, and so that's about the best we got for a third fan. And then we got our big bullish move. And so I'm tentatively accepting this as the third fan in silver, and willing to accept the idea that silver's now broken out of the three fans technique and is no longer in the downtrend. So that would be the point of this chart. And two things in this chart. So one is just the bullish action in silver. So silver never pulled back to its 200-day moving average, and I'm showing that there with the bullish offset. We didn't get a big pullback. I'm still open to the possibility that we get a big pullback. It would be a liquidity event. Nothing to do with the precious metals, and certainly not with silver. Silver is the place to be, in my opinion. Best investment on the planet right now. Albeit, there's a lot of other stuff going on that could cause a liquidity crisis where silver holders and gold holders were forced to sell their metal to raise capital to cover all their other silly trades. Or I shouldn't say silly trades that aren't working, and they have to cover them. Let's look at a fork here on this. This chart's a little bit cleaner than the first one. And so we can see this is a Schiff pitchfork in the daily time frame on silver. It appears that price is running into that upper median line of that pitchfork. This was just for fun. Every once in a while I go through my charts and see, oh, what did I draw? So this chart suggesting a target at 405 based on this. I've seen other people refer to this as a 45-year cup and handle pattern with a target way up there, several $100 in this particular chart, 405. Not going to surprise me to see silver in that range. My long-term target for silver, and this has been true since 2002, it's about $600, 625 actually. Yeah, 625. Got 405 here. I'll stop babbling. Talk to you soon, folks.